24 Şubat'ta Vladimir Putin'in emriyle Rusya'nın Ukrayna'ya saldırmasının ardından başlayan savaş 1,5 aydır devam ediyor. Geçen hafta İstanbul'da Dolmabahçe'de Ukraynalı ve Rus müzakere heyetleri bir araya geldi. Bu görüşmelerden sonra hem Moskova'dan hem Kiev'den sürecin ilerlediğine dair olumlu, iyimser denebilecek mesajlar geldi. Türkiye savaşta kolaylaştırıcı bir rol oynamaya çalışıyor ve görüşmelerin burada yapılması da bu rolü iki tarafında saygı gösterdiğini gösteriyor bize. Aynı zamanda Buça'dan gelen görüntüler, sokaklarda cesetlerin olması, toplu mezarların olması ve bu fotoğrafların Rusya'nın çekilmesinden sonra ortaya çıkması büyük ses getirdi bu hafta ve bu haftanın en çok konuşulan konusu oldu. Rusya-Ukrayna savaşındaki bütün gelişmeleri, Türkiye'nin rolünü, Zelenski'nin ve Kiev'in Rusya'ya yönelik suçlamalarını konuşmak için bugün T24'te Ukrayna'nın Ankara Büyükelçisi Vasil Bodnar'la birlikteyiz. Thanks for accepting our interview request, and I would like to start with a question with recent developments in Bucha, the horrific images that are coming out of Bucha. President Zelensky has been saying and recently said that President Putin and his allies should be judged as war criminals. But at the same time, Ukraine is in a situation that they have to continue negotiating, to continue the peace process with Russia. So is it possible to make peace with a regime that a country is judging with war crimes? And if so, how can Kiev reconcile these two?
Thank you very much for attention to Ukraine, for position information about Ukraine, how it is, the truth, that's most important for today. So first of all, really all the war crimes that have been conducted in Bucha, it's just the top of the iceberg, because there are a number of such places where civilians were shot, killed, or tortured, raped. There are a number of war criminals and a number of war crimes that have been conducted by Russian forces. So that's why it's for sure President Zelensky is right. We will persecute them whenever they are. And that is the responsibility and accountability of Russia for the war they wage against Ukraine. The other thing is that we need to finish this war, because all the wars are finishing with the agreement or with the peace treaty, whatever we could call it. We proposed the agreement or the document which will not include only Ukraine and Russia as the side of this war, that Ukraine is defending Russia as aggressor, but also other countries which could be guarantors, and the guarantors should provide us with necessary assistance not to renew this war in future. By the way, if Russia will recover and try to renew its aggression either against Ukraine or against other countries. So it is not mutually excluded, but persecution of those who are guilty in conducting military criminals acts or war crimes, it for sure will come, because it is not the first time when Russia is conducting war crimes, but have never been punished for that. That is why we should be those who will already initiate, and will push ahead with the idea to punish them fully and bring to responsibility.
And there are also some reports going around, especially in Russian media, that Ukrainian groups, militias and soldiers are torturing Russian soldiers that were caught during the conflict. And how would you respond to this?
So first of all, we are living in the time of informational warfare, and a number of cases could be specifically conducted or prepared by Russian fake news forces to put a blame on Ukrainian army. So all our army soldiers have a directly order not to break down the rules of war and to conduct necessary activities and military activities with regard to the prisoners of war. The other thing is that such cases might happen, and they should be carefully investigated by our authorities and by international community as well. And Ukraine, as the state of law, is ready to discover and to investigate all the cases and provide all necessary explanations, assistance to the judiciary, and then, if necessary, to bring to responsibility those who committed these crimes. So it means that Ukraine is not hiding it if it's really have been done by Ukrainian forces, but everything should be investigated and proved by facts, but not from the Russian media. It should be either international or some international organization should prove it when it is true or not.
Understand. So another thing is, as you said in the beginning, peace process, peace negotiations are continuing, and from the start of the situation, an integral part of it has been the Donetsk People's Republic, so-called republics, Luhansk People's Republics, again, which both of them were recognized by Russia 2 days before the war, and also Crimea, which was annexed by Russia in 2014. And there has been some reports about these might be negotiable, but President Zelensky at the same time said that territorial integrity of Ukraine is not on the table. So I want to talk on the stance a little bit. So what's Kiev's stance on eastern and southern parts of the country? Let's say in the end of the peace process, does this mean there might be a referendum on status of Donbas or Crimea?
Yes, sure. There is legitimate questions, and they might be raised by anyone who is observing the situation with this war of Russia against Ukraine. So first of all, territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine is not the questions to be discussed. It's for sure. So we consider both Crimea and eastern part of Ukraine, this Donbas, as Ukrainian territories. But the war have been started not on the 24th of February. It started in February 2014, when Russia started occupation of Crimea. That's the beginning of real war, of real aggression. We have a conclusion of International Court of Justice, which said that international armed conflict present on the territory of Ukraine at least from July 2014. So it means that these territories, they have different cases. I mean, occupation of Crimea and the Minsk agreements, which was finalizing the battle for Donbas. That means that we propose as a compromise for negotiations that the status of Crimea and the status of occupied territories of Donbas could be discussed after the settlement after the signing of basic peace treaty or treaty of guarantees, as we say it now, which will provide us with necessary guarantees for our possible neutral status. But it doesn't mean that we agree that these territories belong to other countries. We're ready to negotiate their status and how to turn them back. And we're not insisting to do it immediately, but this question should be either provisions about that could be envisaged in the basic treaty, or they could be discussed separately, but with clear vision that we are not giving up these territories, but ready to turn them back in the peaceful way, not in a military way. That's the simple as that.
Understand. And another topic is this past year is not only the Ukraine war, but Syrian war and other conflicts around the world has really showed us how much the warfare has changed in this century. And with the war in Ukraine, one of the main situations, as you said, is the information warfare, especially with social media and mass media. And one of the main topics that has been talked about in Turkey a lot is the pro-Kremlin sentiment going around in Turkish public and in social media too. So pro-Moscow media has been really active in Turkey as well. So I'm wondering, what is Kiev and diplomatic missions of Ukraine around the world doing to battle this situation in Turkey and other places?
So first of all, I would allow myself not to agree with you that Kremlin narratives or Kremlin media are so popular in Turkey. We could count them just in the numbers, and it is few, and they does not have full-fledged covering of Turkish society, and the majority of information, objective information, is received by Turkish society from Turkish media. I would say mostly that there are some issues related to the anti-Western and anti-American sentiments, and they reflected somehow to these estimations of polls. But if you will look at the recent public opinion polls in Turkey, almost 80% of Turkish citizens say that they are not supporting the Russian aggression against Ukraine. That is the clear signal how Turkish society is reflecting to this war of Russia against Ukraine. And what is the attitude of that? So we are not fighting for the minds. We are just delivering the truth information, what we have, what we need to say the truth, how we are fighting, how we are defending, how our people are suffering, what are the casualties, and what war crimes have been conducted by Russians on our soil. Actually, we have a task just to say the truth and to ask for assistance. And what we are doing here, as I understand and that I feel from different levels, we have found a full support, and that is the key issue. So neither Russian narratives nor Russian words about or explanatory words about their justification of war have found any ground in Turkey. Very few people are supporting them, maybe due to their beliefs in them or to their conditions of life, or I don't know, maybe other reasons. But majority of Turkish people are on Ukrainian side, and we feel it every day.
And also, the Turkish government has been playing a role in the current situation too, with as a facilitator country, and Turkey has been also hosted two of the meetings, both in Antalya with the foreign ministers and Istanbul with the negotiators. So I want to ask, with Turkey playing the facilitator role, Ankara has not decided to partake in Western sanctions other than those applied by the United Nations. And they have been saying that this is important to keep information channels, communication channels with Russia open. So does Kiev find this problematic, or do they share this view with Ankara that Turkey should not apply sanctions and keep the channels open?
We constantly ask Turkish side to join sanctions and to limit cooperations with Russia. It's our clear position and fair, and we are saying to all levels. But Turkey has its sovereign decision to adopt, and we will respect any decision because Turkey is a sovereign country and we have no influence. We are happy or not about that. It's clear for us that, and it's fair in discussions between diplomats. The other thing is that Turkey play much more considerable role as a facilitator and mediator, and it also gives the unique place for Turkey to bring peace faster than any other countries. Because having contact with Russia, Turkey has close strategic partnership with Ukraine, and allow a number of talks and negotiations happened, starting from Antalya. Then Minister Çavuşoğlu will go to Moscow, then visited Lviv, met with our minister, then we gathered together in Istanbul. We believe that it should be continued, whatever the format will be, and it could be compared with Belarus, because Belarus is a hostile country which is supporting the aggression, which is giving its land, airfields, and support for the invading forces. But in Turkey, as a friendly country, for a good spirit and good support for the possible achieving of the agreements. And if you could recall last week arrangements, it gives a hope. It gives a hope. But nevertheless of that, we are also asking that don't work with occupants and aggressor, because it also allow Russia to continue the war. That's the story. But we are also asking not only Turkey, but all countries around the globe. And the Western countries also acknowledged that they are paying more money for gas from Russia than supporting Ukraine in its defense. That's also a clear signal. So let's try to move forward with that and cut down Russian military machine from supplies to end war quickly.
And to follow that up with, there has been a lot of reports, most recently in Wall Street Journal, as of Thursday, that Turkey not partaking in Western sanctions might end up becoming a safe haven for Russian oligarchs and pro-Kremlin money. And what is your thoughts about this?
So, as I already mentioned, this story we actually are not happy about, and we are dwelling attention to all our partners. But from other side, we are not pushing and not pressing on the Turkish side what the decision they should adopt. Finally, what we are saying is that it's about matter of prestige. It's about matter of secondary sanctions. It's about matter of possible cooperations on the Ukrainian market. Because now we are now looking forward, and even despite of the war and the situation, which is not still fully on our side, I mean, fully in our favor, but we believe that we will soon start to reconstruct Ukraine. And there will be a huge amount of work, which will be important for different companies around the globe. And Turkish companies, with its experience and possibilities, could have a huge amount of work there. But if these companies will work in Russia, I don't think they will have a possibility to work at the same time in Ukraine. So that's the questions maybe more from philosophical point of view, but nevertheless, it's a visible perspective. And we are sharing with our views very, very openly and fairly.
And as we have talked about, Turkey has picked a position somewhere between a mediator and a facilitator in the current conflict. And the process has been continuing here, as you said, with Antalya and Istanbul, Dolmabahce after that. So main topic has been, there has been talks about a Putin-Zelensky meeting might take place in Turkey, and there have been different reports about it. Moscow has been standing a little distant about it, saying there has been an important negotiation process done and an agreement in place. Has there been any process in the situation with the Zelensky-Putin meeting in Turkey?
You're pretty well aware that meeting for meeting is not necessary. We need to finalize the negotiation team, the work. We need to understand what the conditions are acceptable, what are not acceptable, because for us, the red line is to make a ceasefire and withdraw Russian forces at least to the line which was kept by the forces on the 23rd of February. We will not agree on any occupation of additional territories and any discussions about the battlefield improvement. So despite of our progress in Istanbul last week, Russia continued to regroup its forces and most probably will try to capture more territories or encircle our forces in Donbass and try to continue their advanced efforts in the south. So I don't think it's in these conditions of possible attacks, continuing attacks, presidents could meet quickly. But when the negotiation team will finalize the draft document and it will be ready for signature, I believe it is possible to organize this meeting here in Turkey. It will be fair enough to finally settle the issue and to bring not only Putin and Zelensky, but also other guarantor countries to take the obligations, to take these obligations in the meaning that they are responsible for the security in the region and not just watching us now. Because today, the world security system doesn't work. UN, OEC, I don't know, any other organizations for which we have been paying contributions in billions of dollars make nothing. Even Red Cross is not able to fulfill its full duties. So there are a number of criticisms to international organizations which should be relaunched, and maybe a new system could be elaborated. And our president recently, in his speech to the UN Security Council, proposed the concrete idea of creating a new document and creating a new branch of international structure which could be established in Kiev and work on new security dimensions of the which would provide security for the region as a whole, not only for Ukraine.
You were in Istanbul when the meetings happened, when the negotiators were here. So do you think the peace process will yield results soon?
Yes, for sure. You know, as I have mentioned from the very beginning, all wars ends with the peace treaties or some other documents. So what we need now is to continue our diplomatic efforts, and despite of the all war crimes which we've been conducting against Ukraine, our president adopted a new decision to reinforce our negotiation team with Minister of Justice and with some other guys, with lawyers mostly, also to work on this draft agreement and to push for responsibility of Russia. Because one thing is to settle the peace, and the other thing to bring Russia to responsibility. because military crimes and devastation of Ukraine should be paid back. And for sure, who should pay? It's Russia. And that is not the case we will finalize with the only peace treaty. So military activities, it's very terrible thing. It's a war, and they kill people, they kill a number of our soldiers and civilians, but they should be brought to responsibility, not to repeat this evil in future.
We know that there have been reports about Ukraine might be accepting Russia's request to become a neutral state. And we also know that Ukraine wants there to be guarantor states in the peace agreement, when there is a peace agreement set in stone. And there are talks about 8 countries, one of them being Turkey. Ukraine asks them to become guarantor states. And these guarantor states would be signing the variation of NATO's 5th article, basically, that they would defend Ukraine in case of an attack. So have there been any signs from these countries that they would accept a big security commitment like this?
Yes, sure. So all countries which have been invited to participate in this agreement say something about their readiness to participate, including Turkey. Turkey, in principle, agreed to be the guarantor. But now there is going on consultations on the scale and sense of these guarantors and what can do. But for sure, we does not need the paper guarantees. We had it in 1994, but it doesn't work. We had also some obligations from the Russian side according to the bilateral basic treaty. They didn't keep it. They started invasion and occupation. Then we have a number of other international documents which should provide security, but did nothing, namely nothing, to defend us from this simple military aggression in the 19th century style. With the devastation, deportation, rape and everything, the wars could happen. And the world is not, even now, is not reacting so adequately to stop them. So some countries are still thinking about cooperation, some thinking about honorary way out for Russians, etc. So what the honorary way? After these killings and all these massacres, you still believe that they should be a normal people? Look at what they are presenting in their interceptions of their conversation between soldiers and mothers or wives, when they are asking for more computers, sport costumes, and shoes from dead kids. You know, it's crazy. It's something like aliens came. And it's not only Putin. It's not Putin who is shooting our civilians. It's Russian people. And Russian people are supportive for Putin's massacres. So they should be also brought to responsibility. That is the clear message.
Understand. Ambassador Bodnar, thank you for answering our questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We all hope peace process will give results really soon and this war will stop.
Yes, peace process with defense capabilities works much more better than just peace process.